Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 5.
We are tracking the cleanup after a part of a train carrying coal derails into a central Kentucky creek.
A young man died in Harrison County over the weekend. The people who knew him say it's a devastating loss.
Construction crews are working toward putting a 250-foot crane in downtown Lexington today.
WKYT News at 5 starts now. Work crews have begun the process of forming a plan to clean up 3 derailed train cars full of coal.
The ground gave way under some tracks near Stoner Creek in Bourbon County overnight. Officer Don Evans shot this video of the scene from Sky First this morning. The cars tumbled down an embankment after the derailing. WKYT's Jerica Insco is tracking the latest on the situation in our top story at 5.
It was a 100-car coal train, but the CSX train lost 3 of its cars when 4 of them derailed. Now, as you can see behind me, one of the cars is still in the creek, but 2 of them have been removed as this cleanup process continues here in Paris. It was traveling from Toledo to Virginia when 3 cars wound up sitting along Stoner Creek here in downtown Paris.
Its track is built on what they call a high wall, and it's probably 100 years old or older, and just gave way.
Crews and officials from CSX, R.J. Corman, Emergency Management, Environmental Protection Agency, and emergency response teams, along with first responders, have been here for hours and hours since this train derailment happened overnight. After learning 2 people were on the train at the time, but no one was hurt, their focus has been on the cleanup process.
1 car is in the creek. They're going to try to drag it across the creek and bring it out on the other side at some point. That seems to be what their plan is.
The sheriff says they won't know how much damage there is to the sewer line below the cars until they are removed. Right now, crews on scene are worried raw sewage is possibly dumping into Stoner Creek. For the EPA, coal is not a concern, but it is a water quality violation, so it will be removed. The sheriff tells me no drinking water here has been contaminated because it is upstream. In Paris, Jerica Insco, WKYT.
And the sheriff says he has been told the track will be rerouted around where it caved in, and trains should be running through there by tomorrow.
A very difficult day for students returning to class without one of their own. Harrison County High School Colton Burris died in a crash on Saturday morning. He was on his way to take a college entrance exam. As WKYT's Victor Puente shows us, today Burris is being remembered for the mark he left on that school and his classmates.
Colton Burris was a son, a student, an athlete, but one of the things he was proudest of was his involvement in his school's junior ROTC program. 17-year-old Colton Burris died Saturday morning. The coroner tells us he wrecked on Jacobs Lane around 7:30 while on his way to take an ACT exam. The men who led him in Harrison County's junior ROTC program say despite their pain, they've been more concerned about his fellow cadets.
It's been devastating, to be honest with you, right now today. We're just trying to minister their needs.
At the high school today, counselors were brought in to help the students and teachers who knew Colton. In addition to being a flight commander with the JROTC, he was also on his school's track team.
He was just the kind of kid that people attract to,
Blackburn and Montgomery are friends with Colton's father. They say the loss has been especially hard on him.
By all accounts, they had a very special relationship. It was kind of a big brother, little brother thing.
But they say his death is also a loss because of what he could have become.
A wonderful asset to the community and would have been the nation eventually if he'd been given the chance to prove that.
The superintendent tells me this morning the other ROTC cadets asked administrators if they could lower the flags to half staff in Colton's honor. The school agreed to that request. In Harrison County, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Also, the junior ROTC plans on being involved in Burris's memorial service, and it is scheduled for Wednesday.
We have a change in the weather coming our way, and it starts tonight with some rain. WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey's here now to tell us what's on the way. How about it, Chris?
Yeah, we get those showers into town, Amber and Sam, ahead of a big storm system to our west that will introduce the colder air, and then we'll really talk about some wintry changes later this week. First things first, that's what's going on as of right now. A lot of clouds beginning to come back into town. Hamburg Pavilion in the distance, and a lot of the overcast conditions. Currently 48 degrees right now in Lexington. That humidity continues to inch up, and that's a sign that rain is indeed on the way. Live First Alert Defender picking up on the showers to our west and southwest. Heavier little band right on top of Springfield in Washington County. For traveling down the BG Parkway, you'll run into a few sprinkles by the time we get into parts of the Lawrenceburg area into Anderson County. Harrodsburg, Danville, rain is just off to our west and southwest. Nothing that is overly heavy, but all of that is working its way now from southwest to northeast. Clouds continue to filter on in to the bluegrass region, so we got lucky today with that little sliver of some sunshine that is now pushing off to the east with the clearing. Back to our west, a lot of clouds pinwheeling around this low pressure center that, by the way, on the backside of that has some snow, has some colder temperatures. That is slowly working its way into the region. That will introduce colder air, and guys, the potential for winter weather shows up in our 7-day forecast. When I come back in just a few minutes, we're going to talk about the potential for some snow around here as we head toward the weekend.
All right, Chris, thank you. A Fayette County judge is expected to decide soon whether a former state lawmaker can withdraw his guilty plea for murder. Briefs from both sides in the Steve Nunn case were due to Judge Pamela Goodwine today. Her office says she plans to make a ruling by the end of the month. Nunn pled guilty to the 2009 shooting death of his former fiancée, Amanda Ross. He asked to withdraw his plea back in October.
A flip of the coin was needed today. The search committee for the next Fayette County school superintendent added a new member this morning. The election for the parent representative ended in a tie. So today, the district flipped a coin to see which parent would take the spot. Sharon Mossfield Boswell beat Roger Cleveland in the coin toss.
It will be a huge responsibility, and it will require a lot of personal time, but it's an honor, and I'm just really humbled that I had the support that I had.
The panel needs to include a school board member who will be appointed during a meeting tonight. If that person is not a minority, the district will have to hold a special parent election to select a minority parent to join the committee. 3 people, including a gunman, have died in a hostage situation in Sydney, Australia.
The 16-hour standoff took place at a cafe in the city's downtown area. As Craig Boswell reports, grenade explosions and gunshots could be heard as police stormed the cafe and ended the standoff.
A dramatic and deadly ending to a more than 16-hour hostage standoff in Sydney, Australia. Heavily armed teams of tactical police stormed the Lynn Chocolate Cafe in downtown Sydney, where a gunman had been holding 17 hostages. The police action came just moments after a group of hostages began running from the building.
They made the call because they believed that at that time, if they didn't enter, there would have been many more lives lost.
CBS News confirms the suspect is Iranian-born Man Haroon Munis, a self-described cleric. Australian media received a video with one of the captives listing the gunman's demands.
We had 3 specific requests and none of those have been met.
Munis could be seen in grainy video during the standoff, pacing back and forth. The 50-year-old had a lengthy criminal record and was already known to authorities. He had asked for an ISIS flag to be delivered to the cafe.
It is an isolated incident. Do not let this sort of incident bring about any loss of confidence about working or visiting in our city. It was the act of an individual.
A handful of hostages escaped the cafe earlier in the standoff. After it was over, others were carried out on stretchers. 2 died along with the gunman. Police are counseling family members not far from the crime scene. Craig Boswell, CBS News, Washington.
Police have not said whether the gunman killed the hostages or if they died in the crossfire.
A suspicious device caused a scare this morning. Our county-by-county coverage begins in Jessamine County. The Wilmore police chief says that one of their officers noticed the package in a parking lot near HRS Automotive on Tobacco Court. They called in the Lexington Police Bomb Squad to check it out. The chief says the package was not explosive, but was made to look like it could explode. The ATF will examine that device. In Bath County, police are asking for your help. Owensville police want help identifying this man. They posted his picture to their Facebook page. They say this man may have been involved in car break-ins around the community, and they would like to find him.
A key piece of equipment in the next phase of construction on the Centerpoint project arrived in Lexington today. The 250-foot crane is so big it arrived in pieces. WKYT's Mike Linden shows us what it took to get all the parts to the site.
By the end of the day today, there will be a 250-foot crane over the Center Point site in downtown Lexington as it's being constructed by 10 to 15 construction workers this morning. Construction crews and Lexington police temporarily closed a portion of Vine Street this morning to bring in a portion of the tower crane. When completed, the crane will stand more than 25 stories tall.
Everybody's seen the drawings of what it's supposed to look like, and I don't know, it's just, it's going to be a while for it to get done. I'm sure it'll look nice when it's done, and, you know, it'll draw some people down here, but, you know, it's progress, whatever that means.
On the opposite side of the site, crews closed the left lane of Main Street between Limestone and Upper Street, which will stay closed until late in the afternoon on December 19th.
This definitely has changed. I remember it being a horse park with the jumps and the pretty grass and the fences, and now it's definitely a hole, a crater.
If you're driving through downtown Lexington tomorrow morning, you can expect even more traffic through the morning hours as construction crews are going to build yet another tower crane in the construction site. In Lexington, Mike Linden, WKYT.
And according to the developers, the first stage of construction is a 3-floor parking garage.
A gunman is on the run after a shooting rampage killed 6 people. Neighbors talk about the chaotic search for that suspect.
When it comes to your health, it appears attitude is more important than age. The findings of a new study in Better Living.
Suspected of shooting and killing 6 people is on the run this afternoon. Investigators say the shootings took place in 3 Philadelphia suburbs. SWAT teams surrounded several homes trying to find the gunman. Neighbors described a very chaotic situation at one of the shooting scenes.
We heard the flashbang go off. We saw the smoke come up, and that was it. We just kind of went back inside because, I mean, we don't know if it's safe or not.
And neighbors have identified the victim of the first shooting as the gunman's ex-wife. They say the couple had been fighting over custody.
Cleanup has started following last week's massive storm in California. The storms caused flooding, mudslides, power outages, and uprooted trees. One landlord says it will cost up to $7,000 just to clear trees from his land. He's not sure how he'll pay for it.
This is going to be more money than I can afford. It's all insurance, and those guys are going to fight it out and drag it out.
A new storm dumped more rain on Northern California today. It caused flooding, power outages, and airport delays. Well, it is the busiest day of the year for FedEx. An accident, though, made it even busier for workers in northern New Jersey. Take a look. A FedEx truck overturned this morning, spilling holiday deliveries all over the interstate. The driver suffered minor injuries. The packages were reloaded and sent on to their destinations.
One good deed is leading to another in Boston. Last week, a woman dropped her engagement and wedding rings into a red kettle with a note asking the Salvation Army to sell it and keep the money. And now an anonymous donor is offering $21,000 for both. The donor plans to reunite the rings with their original owner. He made headlines for his unique disguise during a robbery. Now the duct tape bandit is in trouble with the law again. We'll tell you what he's accused of doing on WKYT News at 5:30.
Many of us work in stressful environments, but your email and even your dog can play a role in making it better. We'll explain for you in Better Living. It is time now for Better Living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. When it comes to staying healthy, the age you feel might matter more than the age you actually are. Alfonso Van Mars shows us the results of a new study.
Marian Armitage isn't letting her age slow her down. She rides her bike everywhere, to the store, to Pilates class.
I've just become 60 this year, and I certainly don't feel 60.
Researchers at University College London found the key to living longer may be feeling young.
People who felt younger than their real age were more likely to survive over the next 8 years or so compared with those who felt older.
Researchers tracked nearly 6,500 senior citizens here in England for more than a decade. They found adults who felt younger had a 14% death rate compared to a nearly 25% death rate for people who felt older.
Somebody who feels younger is possibly healthier than someone who feels older, and so they have fewer diseases or they may be more mobile.
Marian says the study doesn't surprise her at all and that she plans to keep her young attitude as she grows old. Alfonso Van Marsh, CBS News, London.
Most adults in the study said they felt 3 or more years younger than their actual age. If you have a beloved dog, you might keep a picture of them at work. But what about actually bringing Fido to the office with you? It is a trend showing up more and more in workplaces. Some managers say having dogs at work makes employees happier and more productive.
Having her forces me to have a break, like to take her around the block for a walk, that sort of a thing.
There are also some health benefits to bringing a dog to work, such as lowering your blood pressure and your stress levels. Your email can play a role in how stressed out you are. Researchers studied 2 groups of adults and found those who checked their email less often were also less stressed. The authors of the study say businesses can help workers reduce stress by suggesting they deal with email in chunks rather than constantly checking and then responding. And if you need a gift for someone who's hard to buy for, a gift card might be the perfect answer. It is the most popular gift this year. A new survey found nearly 1/5 of all holiday budgets go to gift cards. People spend an average of $172 on them. For more health, education, and consumer news, just go to WKYT.com and click on Better Living.